Okay guys, so we're going to talk about compression. There's three things that I'm always trying to encourage golfers to do who struggle with compression in terms of from the feeling when I'm giving golf lessons. The first one is you need to obviously make sure your hands are ahead of the ball, right? So when I hit the golf ball, I need to make sure my hands are delivered ahead of it. Making sure my hands are delivered ahead of the ball basically gives me the ability, shall we say, to strike more down on the ball, therefore producing less loft. And that's where we get this sort of term compression. So if I hit a shot here where my hands stop moving, the club head overtakes the hands, it will sound very much like that. If I this time try and hit a shot where I get the feeling of my hands leading, then it sounds more like that, more of a thuddy, compressed sort of sound. So that's what we're after. So the first thing to understand is that you need to make sure your hands are ahead of the ball at the point of contact. Now, the second thing I want you to do is I want you to make sure your lead wrist is flat coming in towards this impact area, because a lot of golfers that I tend to meet will work on trying to come down, getting the hands forward, but if this wrist is a little bit too angulated, that face will get too open. So you want to make sure as you're coming in that this wrist is pretty flat coming in towards this impact area, and then your club face will be square. Okay, so if I sort of show you, if I take hold of the club here and I hold my original wrist position from my grip and I just move my hands forward, see that club face? But if I flatten it a little bit, see now the club face? And all of a sudden, if you can get that club face a little squarer, you'll have more confidence delivering the hands forward. If you leave it too open, I'm not so sure you're going to be as convinced to do it. So that's the second tip. Now, the last tip might sort of surprise you really, but once you have a go at doing it, it'll probably make a lot of sense. And what you really need to do is as you're coming in towards this very sort of latter part of the downswing, so that means you'll swing back, you'll start the downswing, and then really the question is like from this sort of position to the impact area, you need to make sure you're really pulling down on the club. Okay, so what tends to happen with a lot of golfers from this sort of stage is everything sort of slows down, they end up sort of scooping at it. I want you from here to really pull down. See what I'm doing here? Pull. Now, the best way to do this is lead hand only, okay? So if I do it lead hand only, so what I mean is let me show you like a scooping action. So then sort of take it back, hands don't win the race, and then see the left arm sort of folds like this, okay? Let me show you now the difference between the pulling one, hopefully with a demonstration. So it's more this way, and pull it, see what I mean? See, as I pull it down, see the way I can deliver this type of position here, which is really good. Now, as time goes by, and you become good at that, you start to compress it, then you can just incorporate a little bit of turn as well. So if you start doing it, you're getting good strike and you notice that's good, then just turn your body with you as well. And what the turning will do is it will just help the club move through the ball and finish the swing. And if you can incorporate those three things, hands win the race, flattening lead wrist, and the feeling of pulling the club down, and practice lead hand only to really experience that, I promise you compression is much closer than you probably think. See you soon.